Hello and welcome into MFL with Laird. I'm Andrew Laird. Sorry, there was like a weird delay there. I don't know what happened. But anyway, joined today by Trust the Process, who I had to start off with congratulating you on your 80th MFL club. Good to see you.
Great to be back, and thank you for the congratulations. Definitely my goal sticking to 76 is already out the window, but looking forward to it.
So I had some questions that I was going to ask you today, and then you were like, oh, by the way, I just bought my 80th club. And I was like, okay. And then you were telling me about this 80th club, how you are doing this. And my God, I have so many more questions for you. Before we get into that, because I think that's going to lead us to a lot. Timo's road to 100. Yeah. Firstly, are you ready for season 7?
With the exception of now having to adjust things for this new club, I am mostly ready. We'll see if I pick up any more clubs because I got too many free agents. But to answer your question, I guess no, I'm not ready, but I am pretty close.
Pretty close. Love it. Also, thank you to everybody for coming in. I had to answer a question that was in the live chat. First, Rasko Misaki, and then you were on there and said, can I be on a podium for a show I'm on, or is that like insider trading? And the rules are you absolutely can. No, there are no rules when it comes to being on the podium. You just have to be one of the first 3. And Ryan Walter, who I'm guessing watched my Sorare stream earlier, said it's like a day-night doubleheader. So congratulations to you 3. Straight Up Crazy said, just missed out on a podium, probably hoping that maybe you didn't count and that they would get on the podium. Yeah. But sorry, it doesn't happen. Anyway, Cole One, what's up? Saving my podiums for MFL leagues and cups. Love that. Jimbo, what's up? Good to see you. When start? I didn't think we were late, but he must have sold his go live button for another club. Yeah, Jimbo, I don't think you of anybody should be throwing stones at the glass house of streaming these days. Anyway, you had a little announcement that you wanted to say on the show. Do you want to say it right now, or should we do the content thing where we save it for later?
I don't know. What do you think?
I have so many questions that I don't want to forget about this, so I feel like you should just do it now.
Okay. So I start doing streams as well this year, or this season. I've really enjoyed being on your show the last couple of times, and I'm sure I'll enjoy today just as much. But I decided to just love talking about MFL. And so I don't know what the content's going to be like at all, but I'm hoping people show up and we can just talk. I'm looking to do 3:30 Eastern time in the US, whatever that time is for you. It's an hour from now. Every Tuesday. And so it cleared it with some people, and I feel like that's a generally unused time for streaming. And so I'm excited to kind of start that up starting next week. I'll have some vacation and holiday weeks in between, but that's going to be the general goal.
I absolutely love it and happy to help however I can. Trust the content. Oh, I like that.
That could be good.
I think the reason why I do MFL with Laird is because it's fun to talk about MFL. It's as simple as that. And it's like other people who really like to either be in like a live chat while other people are talking about it, or lots of other people do videos. It's just really fun to talk about. And I'm excited that you are going to take that step because I think you have a fairly unique perspective on a lot of things, particularly about MFL. And yet a lot of the kind of lessons that you've learned over your course of playing MFL, particularly at the level that you do, will help a lot of people. And so, yeah, I'm excited. So now I love all these people trying to come up with a name for it. So we'll see what it is.
I'm accepting submissions. Feel free to shoot them in my Discord DMs instead of spamming.
There we go. Yeah. So 80 clubs. I don't care about the other 79. I want to talk about number 80 right now because it just happened. I literally pulled up the leaderboard because I was like, I wonder if he still has the most clubs. And I was like, what a silly question. And I did notice that you have closed. Whoa, lost my camera there. Sorry, this has been happening to me lately.
Oh,
honestly drives me nuts. Anyway, the gap between Trust the Process and the Fortress Agency, according to the leaderboard page, which we know can be a little delayed, is down to 99 players. Do you get competitive about that at all?
If we weren't good friends, maybe. No, just kidding. I don't think so. It's just more so whatever happens, happens. I actually have some players listed in the marketplace right now, um, just because there's some big older limiteds I'm having a hard time using. But no, players, not so much. If someone's already getting close to me in clubs, then maybe we have a friendly competition. But,
Ooh, there we go. There we go.
For now, I'm not protective at all of my player count.
According to the leaderboard, which again still shows you at 79, we'll call it 80. Scrub is second at 53, and then Fortress at 41, Big Wilbert at 39, and then a bunch of sane people who are below that. So I'm not trying to like stir the pot really, Ranjan, but like maybe there's a little bit of it. I just, everybody loves a little competitive banter. Anyway, tell us about this new club.
Yeah, so I'm forgetting the guy's name, so I've just been messaging him. But basically, there was a guy in the club, buy sell club channel that was trying to sell his gold club. I frankly had no interest in it as far as being straight up buying it, just because I just recently spent $800 trying to get my buy-in to the diamond license that Ron John currently has that we got from Big Will. And so that's why all those $60 clubs that were on the marketplace, I wasn't buying up because I was too busy trying to pay Big Will back, which is why I have an $800 common player in my inventory now. Very expensive common player. But basically we just started talking and I was like, hey, I'd be happy to talk about what it would look like to me to loan some guys to you or get the club from you but pay you back with MFL over time. And so we ended up settling on I'm paying him $65K MFL the next 2 seasons. And so 130 MFL, 130K MFL, which is about the $600 he was looking for. And I'm at a spot right now where I'm using MFL for players, and it's a lot to try to put those players into my system. And so it actually alleviates a problem of mine as far as how to use MFL. And so I'm thinking about starting to see if anyone else wants to, I don't know, get MFL for clubs in the future too. You gotta have trust there, right? I mean,
so I was gonna say, like, how does it actually work?
So I'm assuming we're both on the same page with this. There's no way to actually transfer MFL,
right?
And so the thought would be he would tell me what 65K worth of packs he wants to get. I would get them and then transfer them over at a penny each to him on floaty, and then go from there. So do that for this season and the next. And yeah, got another club, got a gold club. I don't know how competitive I'll be able to make it. Probably not very competitive, but it's better than having a club that's not going to be able to be fielded in the league at all. So I think it was a win-win-win all around. And yeah, helped to get to number 80. It's a good story for number 80.
Are you at all concerned about having to buy 1,000 common player packs?
I definitely was like, I wonder if I should factor in my time for any conversations, because it's not like you can do a bulk list for individual sales. Like you have to do the offers. So I'm really hoping he doesn't want commons. That wasn't part of our conversation, but yeah, it was going to be like, I want to say over 100 common players for that. Yeah, that's actually pretty simple math. It's over 100. Yeah. So yeah, let's hope that's not the case. But I haven't not done it before. So
Ryan said, just tag the team. Clubs for MFL will be in the next Friday dev update. Impossible is nothing. Is this something you've been thinking about trying to do, or is this something that you do regularly of trying to like pay with MFL?
It's not something I usually do. No, I frankly just saw his message and kind of felt for him in a sense where he just like thought he could do something and he couldn't. Frankly, I mean, forfeiting games intentionally is something that wouldn't be okay. But he thought that he'd be fine to get the MFL and kind of get it that way. As an MFL farmer, in some respects, and historically have been, I don't know, just kind of felt a little bad for him. So reached out this morning being like, hey, here's a couple options that we could do to help you in the situation. So it's definitely something I normally do, but it's something that worked out for both parties. And again, just trying to help the community, and I had the resources to do it. So might as well do it.
So the bottom place in gold pays 92,000 MFL. Obviously, you're then not in gold next year, so you're kind of like having to figure out where you go. Did you basically try to just do an MFL conversion in terms of what MFL is valued at dollar wise, or did it have anything to do with the fact that of what you're going to get from gold this year and any subsequent years?
Yeah, I think it worked out kind of both ways. Looking at the 92K, and then if it was bottom of silver again, that's roughly going to be 130,000 combined, and so it kind of evens out in that sense. But then I have a bronze club that I can do whatever I want with it. The other factor, though, is the fact that there's going to be players that are going to be not having great progression potentially, because they're going to be beaten up, or it's also loss of MFL from those clubs that I'm pulling those guys from. And so that's why it's like I'm getting a bronze club for basically sacrificing those two things. And so again, that's why I think it balances out in the long run. There might be some level of benefit for me in the long run as far as having a bronze club and just sacrificing some progression for maybe just older players. But he was in a pinch, and I think it made sense for him and it made sense for me. But yeah, ultimately also I think 130K MFL is roughly equal to about 600, which he was looking for. So I think it really balanced that all around.
Was there any thought of trying to run a gold club competitively?
I'm struggling enough to field a silver club right now competitively. I ran a very similar silver club last year and barely got relegated. I actually bought a second silver club in the same league, kind of being like, if one demotes, then I'll have the other one still. But I improved with the team a little bit, but everyone's improving their teams. And so I don't know if I'll have that silver club next year. So this also allows me to make sure I have a silver club for next season at the very least. Combine that with the fact that I also sent up some of my best players to this diamond club that the three of us are running. Also kind of weaken my agency in other aspects as well. But I'm really excited for that.
Do you keep track of I mean, obviously you do. Do you know what your breakdown is like per division of like teams per division, like where you have what division you have like kind of the biggest exposure to in terms of just number of clubs?
I don't know if you watched the latest one, Dirk. Jimbo can comment on this, but I saw he at one point went to my agency and saw the amount of Spark clubs I have. I have like 40 some Spark clubs. He was just like, holy moly, how many rows is this? I found that very funny when I was watching it last night. But yeah, so Spark is by far my largest piece of my agency. So it's 40 some there, and then I have 2 in Flint, and then a good amount of ice, less amount in stone. I think I have like 5 iron, maybe a bronze or 2, and then a silver, 3 bronze and then a silver. And so I'm really bottom heavy. But that's because I think I get the notion that I'm farming MFL, but in a larger sense, I'm farming MFL players. Like I want to see who progresses, and that's mainly my main goal of everything is progressing players, as we've discussed before. So more clubs, more opportunities to progress those players and see what happens.
It's funny you say that because I kind of had that similar plan in a singular sense that it basically was like, well, when I started, even within Spark, like I had 3 clubs and it was like, one has my best players, one has the middle, and one has the bottom. And the idea is one feeds the other, or and then the feeds the next one and just kind of go from there. But constantly have that thought of like, well, if I just had 5 clubs, then I'd have 5 clubs that feed into 2 to 1. And like the whole pyramid makes sense. And so while I genuinely can't picture how I would even manage as many clubs as you do, it all makes sense. And is all what I think is fairly repeatable, even at a lower level in terms of the number of clubs. And so, but obviously like that's a choice that you made in terms of instead of having 4 gold clubs, can you have 4? Yeah, you can have 4, right?
Gold clubs. I have 1 right now, but yeah.
Right. But like instead of doing that, you've kind of taken the part of let me just spread it out and eventually theoretically feed them all up.
I'm kind of eliminating the gamble to an extent, right? If you just play the law of numbers, if you get enough players, you're going to get the average progression across the board. And so like if you look at my players I'm contributing to our diamond team, I'm putting in 6 of our 16 players. 3 of them have progressed, 1 by 21, 1 by 32, 1 by 29. And so a lot of half my diamond contributions are actually from just large progression pieces. And so it's proving out to work, but
I have to look at this.
Yeah. So the first guy is the guy I somehow randomly packed. So the the guy who hasn't progressed at all. But this guy, yeah, he's been the monster. I don't know how much regression he has left in him because his defensive stats and physical stats are pretty high. But maybe we'll get another kickstart to start this season in some respects. But yeah.
I was gonna say how many leagues has he played in, but I guess we could, or divisions. But I guess we could just look. Like, that's crazy to see, just like ice, stone, silver, and have it be a player and not a club.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a time, basically, whenever he first made his first, he jumped from a 63 to a 65 or 66 in one day. And I got a couple of different messages being like, "Hey, I'll offer you $50 for him." I'm like, I don't think so. It's like, you don't know what his upside is. And this was the upside I was hoping for was 90. And I was like, I can't sell this guy for any reasonable price right now because I'm just hoping there's the FOMO of missing out on a guy like this, where once you already see the progression in your agency, it's hard to move.
I have to look at what he used to look like. It's like this thing that I have to keep doing. You're like, oh, because I forget. Oh, yeah.
And he was a guy I got from a player reward pack after one of the seasons. I forget what it was. And so he was just a limited player I pulled. I think it was limited. That got to this point. He's kind of stalled out a good bit, but he had a great run for a period of time.
I mean, obviously, when you have as many players, like you're bound to hit on some that have these crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't expect this whenever you have less players. Let's say I have that 1,700 players right now. I think it is. You got to have like 600 players before you get one of these players. It's kind of the odds, right? And so if you have less players and you have one like this, that's a good for you,
right?
But
yeah, I think it's part of the game that we all don't really appreciate. Like that this happens to you because it's just volume, but like your odds of, or your success rate on getting super progression guys probably isn't better than anyone else on the platform. It's just,
I'm sure it's very average.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the point of it, right? You just quantity eventually get quality.
I love this. Ryan said 55 to 85 stalled.
He did though. Look at his progression at one point in time, and now it's just kind of there. But he tier broke, I think, last season, so maybe we'll get some jumps going into this year.
I mean, that is a stall.
No, well, not that guy. It was Bozic that had
was it? Oh, this guy.
Yeah. So basically, he progressed 2 over the prior 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Which again, there's a Lego teal break in there, so you can't really be too upset.
Right. Well,
it's only 26. You never know if you could progress more over the next several years. But
Obi said, I'm right at 600 players and have exactly one like that. So it's just about right.
There's your magic number. But the Bozic story is fun because if you look at him, I bought him, I think back at when season 1 started or season 2 started, from someone else for $3 because I saw a 2 progression over the span of like a day. And so I was like, this guy could progress a lot in the future, having no idea that it was going to be on this level. I don't know if Lil Chacha still plays the game.
I was going to say, I'm going to look, though. Oh, yeah, still in.
Hopefully he speaks Spanish and doesn't watch your show.
Yep. And certainly shouldn't subscribe to your channel because I can imagine that's going to come up all the time. Let's see. I'm going to pull up.
I think the rest of the guys that progressed well have been in-house, but
this is Obi's guy, Celso Moutinho. Oh my God, that's so cool.
It's just so many beautiful colors along the way too.
So, like, yeah, all of them, literally.
I think the green streaming up is a great color to have in Uncommon, where it's like you just see the green. It's just a good highlighter, sort of look at this progression. Yeah, he went from a limited to a rare in one season.
Yeah, that's crazy. Phew. Yeah, those are fun. I can't now. I'm like curious because I certainly don't have guys like that.
How did we get 600 players, Laird?
I
You're working your way there slowly. I believe in you.
Mine's 8. 8's the highest I've got.
Have you had any more thought as far as trying to rename? I know you mentioned on your last stream trying to rename maybe all your clubs to have that centric sort of theme.
Do you want to know the honest answer?
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it.
I know you got Nonagon for the 9 reason, and so it'd be hard to kind of change that one, I'd imagine.
That's exactly how I felt. And then I was kind of like Empire 9 or the 9th and 9. None of them work.
You could do like 9 towers or something like that in the image or something, and that way you still have the 9 different peaks of the fortress. I have no idea, but or 9 guys defending the fortress. I don't know. Keep the 9 in there somewhere.
The 9 has to stay. Yeah, it's the only reason I bought the club. And so but I think about it all the time, and it's just a matter of how whether I actually do it. I actually had somebody reach out to me on Twitter asking if I would sell my Colmar license or my Colmar as a club. And I had never thought of it really. I actually listed it after I bought it. I remember like streaming with Jimmer when I like opened it and we got all excited. We're like, oh, that's cool. We figured out the Beauty and the Beast thing, which ended up being a lie. And I was like, yeah, this is so cool. Literally, as I'm listing it on the market, I was like, I don't want this club, but now I'm kind of attached. But I will say that once I bought Nonagon, the concept of like only owner of a club, I was just like, I don't need that. I don't even care. Yeah. And
it's easy to go to dirty clubs real fast. Yeah.
I get it. Like if I had more, like I was this close to buying, well, I did buy another club, but then I was like this close to buying a 7th club for all of my like low rated guys. And I was like, I just don't really want to buy in at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like I've done that and it's not, I just didn't find it that fun when I had like, I don't know. I'm glad like this came up because I was curious like where you fell on the Flint thing, because you tend not to buy new licenses. And so kind of what's your thought on Flint for your own portfolio?
I have nothing against buying like new licenses. They're just usually more expensive.
Right. Well, that's
yeah. I don't really see the need to trade down. I know there was a conversation yesterday on the Wendirt cast about if I've traded down from Spark to Flint. I just feel like there's still a lot of competition that's similar in those two. I'll fall down naturally for some of my teams, but might as well for now just keep the same MFL, a little bit higher MFL for last place or third to last place in a Spark division, because the cost difference between the two on the marketplace is very minimal. No one's going to give me like $10 plus Flint license for a Spark.
Yeah,
like there's not value.
Yeah, I would even argue that Flint is more expensive because there are people who paid the $80 more recently. That's all.
Yeah.
When I bought the club that I rebranded to Welsh Empire, I like considered going into buying an ice club, knowing that all of my guys were just commons and I would most likely get relegated. But then it was like, not 100% of them get relegated. And so like, maybe I play that game, and I was going to buy into Spark anyway. And I had convinced myself that because the point of the club was progression, getting blasted in every single one of my ice games was probably going to be more detrimental than just being an average team in Spark. And we'll never really know if that's the case. I feel like it just logically makes sense to me. But I also was like, if I'm playing 54 rated players starting in Flint, like I feel like the Flint leagues will look very similar to Spark leagues. And so why not just enter the team that gets more MFL, regardless of where I finish?
Yeah. Yeah. there's a long time, I think, before, maybe not a long time, at least the next couple of seasons, I feel like a good amount of Spark teams will be safe from relegation. I saw
Right.
that with my ice clubs that were more farmy. They didn't get really relegated for the one season, but then they got relegated last season, which is why I have so many Sparks now. But
that makes sense. Do you care? Like, obviously, like, you would prefer not to get relegated, but like, does it actually impact you very much?
it really depends on the club location. Like, there are some clubs that I want to see promote more than
Sure.
others. Like with Philadelphia clubs, as I mentioned before, like those are clubs that I want to see promote. And I lost in promotion playoffs for one of them, and that one hurt a bit. But otherwise, no, I wouldn't say too much. So just because I know it's, again, part of the process. If I get relegated in one league, maybe that means I'll be competing for a top 3 spot next year in the league down, and so MFL is relatively comparable at that point in time. But yeah, I don't stress much about it.
How much of the time on the marketplace do you spend on clubs versus players?
I really don't spend much time on the marketplace at the moment. It's a quick look to see, okay, is there a $60 club at this point? Because now I have $60 in my account that there's a $62 one right now. I'm considering, just because I have so many players, I'm like, they don't have a home yet. I got to find a home for them. But no, I don't spend much time on the marketplace anymore, just because I already have the players that I need, in a general sense. But
so, because there was a question, Cole was saying, what impact, if any, has offers had on the process? Like, do you get a lot of offers?
Yeah, I do get some, but not nearly as much as I think I expected. People usually only offer for players that are already listed, and I usually haven't listed many players historically until a couple days ago, where I'm trying to get rid of some of the older guys. So I've gotten some offers since then, but in general, offers hasn't changed the process as much as I kind of expected. That's also because, again, I'm not active in the marketplace on either end a whole lot.
Right. I think the reason why I think it may not be as prevalent is it's the number of steps, like extra steps you have to take to look for cards that are not on the market. It's almost like not even worth the effort.
Yeah. Those guys may be already planning on using those guys and have no interest in selling them. And, yeah.
Do you think offers on clubs changes that?
I think it'd be a good thing to have, just because it'd be nice for someone that is trying to sell that gold club to know what someone is willing to pay for it, or really on any level. But I don't know. I think people also have their numbers sometimes as far as what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's a very loud car. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be anything life-changing.
I'm going to go back to the paying for things with MFL, because like the MFL as an in-game currency right now is obviously just between us, the users, and MFL. Like they reward the MFL, we use it to buy packs, and then everything else happens theoretically on Floaty. But how do you think do you think that the way that you play and interact with the platform, like, I can only see it drastically changing for you if MFL became like a legitimate trading currency on the platform?
In a sense, I think it really depends on how MFL is evaluated. Like, have it being listed, I don't know if it's in the white paper or where it was originally, 800 to 1. Like, it's just nowhere close to that.
Yeah.
As far as what it actually is valued. And so being able to buy packs with MFL, I think, is the worst decision you can make when you're talking about like pack drops. Because if you're buying a pack drop pack with MFL, you are massively overpaying for what that MFL could get you otherwise. But
yeah, and the rare pack is 128,000 MFL.
Yeah,
rare is 40,000, or standard, excuse me.
And frankly, I've not looked at these numbers very recently to see if they adjusted the 800 to 1 number. But it wouldn't be that hard to calculate, right? If we did $160 times 8, 12. So yeah, they still do 8 to 1, or 800 to 1. So I really, it really depends on how they would evaluate the MFL to dollar currency to exchange. But if you're talking about player to player exchanging, yeah, that'd be great. Because right now I'm at the point, I was talking to Ron John yesterday, how we're trying to figure out how we get MFL players through our individual player packs and then put them in our agency and then figure out what to do with that player we just replaced. Because it's the ramifications of getting a common player pack or an uncommon player pack, putting that player in your agency. Now you're like, okay, now everything, that guy shifts down one, everyone else shifts down one. It just throws everything else off. And so finding other ways to use MFL before my players start to fully retire would be helpful.
Do you have any sort of projection of how many players you'll lose each season? I mean, we obviously don't know when they're going to retire, but
yeah,
obviously at some point fairly soon, like within the year,
yeah,
we're going to see like mass retirements that I think, because they haven't been that big on MFL yet, I don't think anybody appreciates what it means, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's where I think that there's some level of understanding when it comes to the youth premium that people are paying. If those players progress well, you're going to have those players that are actually evaluated higher in the future because they're still in the game. I think there's still a bit of an overpay for it, but there's, I think, more of logic behind it than I think some people are giving credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I'm selling my young players right now because I think they're still overvalued. But I got through this season. There's no one I have in rare or legendary that have the retirement symbol yet, and so I haven't really prepared for. Actually, I only have a couple uncommons for it as well, but that's because from the get go, I had a very young agency,
Mm-hmm.
Which has its ramifications down the road when all 27-year-olds, all of them start getting retirement warnings. We'll have to see how things adjust from there.
Where does the Diamond Club fit kind of in your priority? Like that sounds very strange, especially when like Ron John's here watching, but like, it's not like you can say, it's not like you have 1,000 players to choose from and just being like, oh yeah, they're all just going. But like in terms of literally just like your time, where does that club fit in?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much impact I have as kind of like a 33% stakeholder with no access to the club. But that being said, Ron John and I have a separate Discord channel we talk in, and we're planning on talking about tactics together. I think it works out well if I'm starting to stream that I don't have access to the club, and that way we're not showing tactics and whatnot for it. Not that we would do that anyway, but I think I definitely still have a very vested interest. I'm going to be watching as many of the games as I can watch. I'll probably turn on spoiler, like the turn off spoiler thing, so I can actually watch it if I do miss it without knowing the score. But yeah, I mean, something I'm really excited about. I'm sure we'll be talking about it all season, him, me, and Big Will. There's a level of just making sure that there's not any level of concern for collusion of any sort with Big Will having his own club in there, but he's not going to be managing the day-to-day. He's not going to be talking too much about the tactics, especially when we're playing his club. But yeah, I'm excited to be back in Diamond in a more legit way. We're definitely still going to be fighting for relegation, trying to stay out of it, but it's a good underdog position to be in, and it's something that I think our club averages out to like 91 or something like that, and so it's a club that should be there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Do you think the experience doing that will help you with your other clubs? Like, I feel like Diamond there are a whole lot of unique things about Diamond, but surely there's got to be, I don't know if it's rotation. Yeah. I mean, you actually seem like you're pretty on rotation, so that's probably not something that you're going to learn much from. But like, what do you think you can pick up from that experience that'll help your other clubs that are further down?
One thing I think is going to help in some respects is the fact that now different players have different attributes, but some of our main formations are going to be the same as some of the main formations for my top silver club. And so one of the formations being a 5-3-2 or 5-4-2, or 5-4-1, Jimbo, for 5 at the back. But I think that some of those lessons that I'll learn in my division, we can talk about applying to Diamond, but more so the opposite way, right? What we're learning works in that 5-back formation could be helpful to have notes for in my silver club. But yeah, it's exciting to kind of compete with the top dogs in MFL. outside of their lower teams. And yeah, just invested interest. Yeah. I have no love for five in the back. I really, outside of MFL, like I'm not a big soccer watcher. Um, I love the World Cup. I've always loved watching Euros, stuff like that. But MLS, I've just never got really into, and so I don't really have natural formations that I love watching in real life soccer / football. Some of the best players.
Turn this stream off.
Just amplifying the situation. Some of my favorite, but some of my best players early on in the game was a left back and a right back, and I was like, I guess I'm just going to play the formation that matches my best players. So that's just kind of how we stayed where we're at. But
yeah, Thomas had a good one. We have not covered injuries already, and injuries aren't in the game yet, thankfully. But do you think you'll have to change your 16-player rotations if that happens?
I was relieved to hear that the injuries in general will be like potentially just 1 game to 3 games. It seemed like, if I heard that correctly, whenever Matt was doing his conversation with Jimbo. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to adjust things a little bit. I think it's going to be more like 17-man teams. That way, each person kind of has a partial backup. Because right now, a lot of times, like if my center mids are playing, maybe my Cam and CDM are on break. But if I get an injury for one of those guys that lasts a few games, I'm going to want to have a secondary Cam or a secondary CM or tertiary. That way, it just allows for be able to keep those rotations. But I think I'll be able to do it still in a 17, 18-man rotation. But it'll actually also kind of alleviate the problem I have with not knowing how to use my MFL with replacing players right now and causing issues down the chain. If I just add a player into each team, that'll actually be relatively simple.
All right. So I messaged you the other day because I was thinking about running an 18-man rotation or 18-man squad for my 2 ice teams, which the season starts tomorrow. I have 18 players in both teams, so it looks like that's what I'm doing here. But your response was like, yeah, as long as you have the players for it, like it can work. And obviously you do 16. You're saying every so often it can get thrown off by like a yellow card accumulation, suspension, or whatever it is. Somebody gets the red card. But when you build your clubs, and I think the last time you were on, you mentioned that you use kind of the auto renewal a lot so that you don't have to redo your teams every single off season. But do you basically, I know this sounds weird, but if you were essentially starting from scratch, do you go with I know that these 3 to 5 formations rotate well amongst 16 players, and then you just like find the players with the right ratings to go in? Or like, how do you do it?
Yeah, I went through that process a couple of seasons ago. There are definitely certain cycles that work out well when you're looking at players. And like, for example, like a lot of the 4-back formations, you can do like a 4-1-2-1-2, narrow, and then also just regular.
Yeah.
And then rotate that with a 4-4-2, and then you have your cams, you have your CMs, your cam and CDM, and your LMRM. Whenever they're taking breaks, other ones are playing. The problem is when you get a red card for one of each position, then all of a sudden you're in a pickle.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen too often. It seems like it happens a lot more to me whenever you're going through that with a lot of clubs. But yeah, then whenever the 2 left back and right back need a break, you just do a 3-back formation. And so yeah, there's definitely different ways of doing that. I was excited last season, I think it was 2 seasons ago, whenever I found a winger formation, left wing, right wing, that if you did a 4-3-3 attacking, you could cycle that to rest both your wingers at a 4-3-1-2. And so, yeah, there's different fun ways of figuring out how to do a 16-man. But yeah, you put yourself in sticky situations sometimes. But yeah.
So what are the most number of games that you'll have players play in a row?
I mean, ideally, go ahead.
Sorry, before we get to that, do you automatically rotate, or do you end up like playing guys with higher physical longer?
It's usually automatically rotating.
Yeah, okay.
It's hard to kind of keep track of those higher physicals,
right,
in a general sense. But Yeah, I would say like for my 5-back formations, like those couple of teams that I do have, I'll try to put my higher physical CBs on there just because they are playing more. But in a general sense, hypothetically, I'm rotating every 2 to 4 games, something like that. Players from being on the pitch to off. It just depends on, um, red cards or tiredness. But in general, most of my players get around 20 games.
So yeah, I guess I was going to ask that too, because I thought about trying to do something like that where it was like, all right, can I get it so like no player plays more than twice in a row? And I think I got close to figuring it out, but then I was like, is that actually missing too many games in order to like maximize match XP? And so where do you fall on that?
I mean, I'm trying to get all my players to get 20 games, but I don't look at how many games they've played at the same time. I'm just trusting the rotations that I have, and that there's going to be some times where some guys will get longer runs, some guys will get than others. It usually balances out so that everyone gets around 20. The exception being backup goalies, of course.
Yep.
But yeah, in a general sense, I don't really track the games played. I just know that my formations will lead to them having a good amount of games played, especially if we get a good cup run.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you're guaranteed to play 28 games, right? 22 plus, well, assuming you're in a 12 team league.
Yeah.
So I guess 20 of 28's still pretty solid. I don't know. I always fall back to the whole, like, if I over rotate, then I get to the end of the season, I'm like, did everyone really just play 16 games? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah. That's ultimately where my passion for trying to do 16 players came from, was because I really didn't want to feel like I left anything on the table for someone's progression. And we'll see what injuries do to change that up. And frankly, whenever that time comes, it'll correlate with guys that are in their retirement window that you don't need to prioritize playing as much, and all different ways of kind of attacking it in that situation. Because already guys that are older, I'm not prioritizing being in a team that optimally progresses them. Trying to have some older players be the highest rated players on some of my clubs to boost the progression of others, with understanding that they won't get much progression anymore.
So for the new clubs that you acquire, obviously you don't have the rotation set on those. So do you end up just having to fill them with 16? Like, how do you do it for a new club that you get?
For new clubs, but also clubs that adjusted players, you got to go through and readjust those rotations. But the base is already in place, and so it's not that difficult to do. Like for some clubs that are fresh now, I'll make the formation today or whenever, like yesterday or today, and then whenever I go to rotate them, I'll save that as a new preset, and then again as a new preset, and then it'll be set for the rest of the season. So the first few game days do take a little more effort, but it's not that bad.
Do you know how many different I don't want to call them rotations because that gets messy, but like, do you know how many different like preloaded formations you have amongst all of your teams? Like, I assume each one has 3 to 5 that you use that you can rotate, but it's surely not the same 3 to 5 formations for 80 clubs.
Yeah, I would say there's 3 to 4 per club for formations, and a lot of them do follow the same pattern. But if I were to guess, the 5-back each has 2 different formations in it. The other one's 3, and then I would guess probably, I'm staring out into space like I'm looking at something. Like 12 to 14, maybe a dozen formation, I would say, because there is overlap in there.
Right.
The only rotation I haven't nailed as far as getting a 16-man for is if I'm doing like a 4-2-2, but it's like my roster is defensive people, and then 3 cams, 3 CDMs, because there's just really no way to make that into a more succinct rotation when you're also having 3 strikers. But
yeah,
I also just have a lot of cams and CDMs that sometimes those rotations have to happen.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We talked previously about how you don't do, you don't really run friendlies or kind of work on tactics as much as you'd like to. Do you, because you end up playing so many games, are there like certain formations that you think work better than others in the game? Like Wolf Gaming here was like, what formation do you all think is strong? And it's like, I'm of the opinion that there's no like single formation, or there aren't even like three good ones. It's like they have to be good for your players. Like it's all very individualized. But are there some where you're just like, oh, whenever I play a 3-5-2 or whenever I play a 4-4-2 or whatever it is, that you have better results? Or is it just kind of like all noise and you're just like, I'm just going to keep my rotations and do, hope for the best?
I don't really listen to that at all as far as like what's the best formation to go to. There's definitely been a couple seasons where someone said, "Oh, 3-5-2 is strong." Couple seasons ago, I think someone said that, and I happen to notice like, oh yeah, those couple clubs I had that as part of my formation rotation seem to do a little bit better. But I don't think it's for me as someone that is prioritizing development over results, let's say in a general sense, that I'm too antsy about trying to change what I'm doing to fit that. Also, naturally, amongst the 80 clubs, I usually cover that formation at some point in time anyway. But you also can't be like, oh, this formation works really well, but doesn't involve any cams. And it's like, well, I got a bunch of cams. I got to get playing time. So I can't just put them on the sideline for a season. So
I think that's where I kind of wanted to go with that, is that it feels like there may be people who are, they hear about a certain formation that works really well and they're like, oh, okay, like I'll go play that. And if it doesn't play to the strengths of your players, or you don't even have the players, like it doesn't matter what, if it happens to work for somebody else, because you don't have the players for it.
Yeah, I really think that's the case. I think you just really got to play with what you have. That's how our Diamond Club came together. Was we had basically were like, okay, these are the players that we each have. At first, Ron John and I were just going to buy it ourselves, and then Big Will eventually got to the point throughout longer conversations. I'm like, what are your thoughts on going three ways with it? And I was like, he's like, I got this position covered for you guys, and I was like, those are actually a couple holes that we do have, and so it ended up working out where the formation we have is purely because it's the best of my players, best of Ron John's players, and it was what Big Will had able to offer. And so that formation took no thought. Again, it was just the players that we had in place in the rotation we could make as a result.
All right, I got to ask. Did like getting Big Will in, who obviously is competing in Diamond, is now working to set another team up that he competes against with players? Like, how did that happen? Like, how did it happen?
Yeah. So he initially had the club listed for 2,500, and the conversation was that Ron John and I would work on selling packs or however we could to get to half that each pay 1,250. Or in that sense, I was like, that's also a lot of money up front. I'm not trying to put more money into the game. And so is there a way we can offer you to keep some of your, like a comment on there for X percent MFL, and that would allow us to maybe pay a little bit less for the club. So we had some conversations around that, seeing if that was a possibility, if it was like for one season or 2 seasons or what that would look like. And then eventually, I got to the point where I think he realized he had players he wanted to keep at a high level. He obviously couldn't promote the Platinum Club, and I think he recognized the value in having a Diamond Club in the sense that he could sell it as a Diamond. And so each of us kind of buying in kept the value of the club that he kind of earned in a way that still kind of separates him from having any level of, again, like for lack of better phrasing, like the insider trading that I joked about earlier. Like, we don't want this to be seen as something that like he has 2 clubs in Diamond. He has like a club and a third. So I really have like 80 clubs and a third. It's just not in my name. But yeah, he still has a vested interest in some extent, but we're not going to like take it easy against his club. Like, we're not going to play backups against him or anything. It's going to be a genuine, true effort. He just gets the benefit of having some extra MFL come from it. It's a more direct way of just other managers loaning out their other players to other guys in Diamond.
Did you guys definitely have enough players for Diamond?
We were having conversations about if we'd have to either loan a couple of guys in to fill some holes, or if we were going to just play guys that shouldn't belong there at like high 80s, whatever, or low 80s, just to fill the roster.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that we probably couldn't field a competitive diamond team right now, but we would get the rewards for probably last place or second to last in diamond, depending on if there's a true farm team in there. And then go down to platinum and try to see who other players we had in our own agencies progress, and then try to go back up to diamond eventually from there. We'll try to hang around in platinum. But this partnership allows us to kind of compete in diamond now, which I think all the other diamond managers appreciate. That way they're not sacrificing their progression against weaker opponents. Sure, there's now a threat of relegation, but there's always going to be a balance there.
Mm-hmm.
And really, how real is that threat for some of those top guys? But yeah, we're hoping to win some games this year, see what happens.
Yeah, that's just super interesting to me of just how all of that works and comes together, because I just don't know if that happens a lot on MFL.
Yeah, I really think that trying to compete with the big guys up top, unless you're willing to dump in a bunch of money, unless you're a true whale, then it's going to be hard to get to diamond eventually. I think we had this conversation last time, where it's not something that one person can usually do.
Yeah.
And so again, the strategy that Ron, John, and I both have had in a general sense of own a lot of players, own a lot of clubs, and see what progresses, was a way of getting players, some that could compete at diamond, but being able to bring in someone else that could put a third of the team together really allowed us to fully be able to put a side together that we can now participate in the top level of the game, see if we can make it beyond one season. If not, I'm sure with our resources, we can be back in future seasons.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was, sorry to cut you off there. I can't remember if it was Nep or Josh talking about their Diamond Heist team, and they were saying that it was just effectively prohibitive to try to loan players for a Diamond club. That like the other the players who are good enough to be in Diamond are usually played by the people who are in Diamond on their Diamond team, and they don't really want to take a step that makes an opponent in a league where, I mean, that's the league, and they don't want to make one of their opponents more competitive than it needs to be.
And yeah, I mean, and that was a part of the conversation with Big Will. I don't think he'd mind saying it, is the fact that he was like, I also have to factor in the fact that bringing in a strong diamond club could affect my well-being
for sure
in this space. And so yeah, we basically talked through that, and that's why it was beneficial to have him kind of be a consistent third part of the partnership, opposed to him just loaning players in, because loaning is temporary, but instead he feels like, if I can speak for him, the fact that this is a club that he partially indirectly owns, like he's consistently going to be a third of the partnership as the other two of us are, and that way, if for somehow we do outperform and he gets relegated, like he still had a vested part of diamond as a result. But yeah, I think it's the best way into diamond at the moment is through a partnership. I just don't know how we get that in MFL on an official level, if that can ever be done, where you can officially own part of teams opposed to a full license. I don't know how to work on the NFT space, but that's why you got to have people you trust you're doing business with. For sure.
If there's one thing I know about the blockchain, there's a smart contract that can always be made for anything, so they'll figure it out. Yeah, that's super interesting to me. I was looking at the leaderboard page. You won $500,000 MFL last season, a little more actually. I don't want to shortchange you there.
You can shortchange me because I kind of bought a club that gave me some at MFL, so I really didn't earn it. I just bought it.
I mean, you got it.
I got it.
Yeah. How does the post-season MFL spending look for you?
So post-season spending, it's weird because it's so different the last two seasons.
Okay.
The prior season, I just basically sold most of my MFL packs and just kind of went that route because I felt like common players were at a good selling point. Common player pack prices dropped going into this year, and really towards the end of last season. It's so hard not to say year, even though it's just season.
I do it all the time.
Common player packs dropped in price, and so I was like, I feel like they're not as much of a beneficial piece to sell, and so I really just got a lot of low end uncommon packs and common pack, and no, low end uncommon and also regular uncommon packs, just to try to start to build up the middle of my agency a bit more. Make some of those teams that are in the middle a little more competitive and have more longevity, maybe with some younger guys in there. Try to sell some of the players that I packed in a like basically buy the pack, open the pack, then sell the player, being like a more indirect way of selling the pack. But still wasn't getting the value I kind of was hoping for some players, and so I ended up just plugging most of them into my agency, which again caused a lot of issues down the rest of the chain,
Right.
as far as like, okay, now I have too many players for the clubs that I have, believe it or not. So, yeah, so now it's just a matter of figuring out where to go from here, and that's where next season I don't know if I would do the same thing again.
Do you think that that selling, how do I want to phrase this? Do you think the benefit of being able to sell players that you've opened from reward packs directly on MFL helps you sell those players versus the pack where people have to go to Floaty to do it?
I don't think so. I really don't know what the level of understanding of Flow T is across the MFL space, and a lot of people know what it is, but those that aren't in Discord might not. And so I like the idea of having packs on the site. I think would be great.
Yeah.
But I was doing some spreadsheets of my own and marketplace studies and seeing, like, I felt like consistently the packs were selling for the different levels across the board, but I felt like an lower uncommon player pack was maybe $2 worth more value selling on Floaty than opening the pack. But I was like, I want to open the pack, and so I'm going to do it. And so open the pack, and then I try to sell the player. But I felt like there's a lot more closeness as far as what packs are selling for to what the player that comes out of it is worth now more than ever. I think the community is getting a little bit smarter in that sense. Except for maybe the higher level packs, which might be a little overpriced, but I still got a couple rare player packs that I got very lucky in, that I think I, in a general sense, would have overpaid for, but I got lucky in the packs where they were good values.
I was thinking of this just kind of in my own, because I didn't spend any of the MFL that I won from last season. Not that I have like a ton of it. In fact, I think part of the reason I haven't spent it is because I can pretty much get like one player that I think would help my better teams, and I don't really feel like filling my lower teams yet.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, do I just buy a bunch of common players and instead of selling the packs, just open them all? And like, is the worst case I just sell the bad one? Well, maybe the bad ones don't even sell for $1. Like, that's the other thing, I guess. I was trying to think of like what the realistic sale price of just a common player pack on Floaty is versus opening it and keeping it if it's good. And if it's not that great, what's the realistic floor to sell?
Well, it's crazy because also in the past, like, the floor for common players was $2. Now it's not. Plenty of dollar players are not selling, and so it's really hard because there's a higher variance of what to expect from those packs now. A regular common player pack being open was probably expected value of $3 and change, and now it's probably expected value of $1.50 or something like that, depending on the age and the overall of the player. There's just a wider range there, which is why I also kind of steered away. I didn't open a single common player pack this past reward window.
Do you know how many you bought?
Yeah.
Or you got?
How many I bought? No, I don't. I got a lot of uncommons. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'll just get 5 more, or I'll open a few to get to this level number of MFL remaining. And then I was also on vacation, so I was already in a splurging mood where I was like, I'll just open these players.
Yeah, money's not real on vacation.
Yeah, but again, like one of the rare player packs I opened was an 84 striker, 23-year-old, and just a regular rare. And I was like, that was already the best striker on my agency. And so that was cool. I also got like a good left mid, which I'm inundated with right now. But I forget the other position. I got 3 new rares this season, and they were all solid. But that's just pack luck. You're gonna have some lucky stints and some unlucky stints.
Can you redeem multiple? Like, can you? Yeah, if you had 6,000 MFL, can you type in 10 packs, or do you have to do each one individually? I've never tried.
Each one individually. which is a lot of fun when you're buying a bunch of common player packs. But this, like I said, this window I didn't do it. Last window, I broke the system for a minute there. I don't know if you'd heard about that, but yeah.
I have just a couple more questions because the When Durcast, a rare Tuesday When Durcast, starts in 13 minutes. So I'll at least give people a couple minutes to stand up and stretch their legs.
Get outside.
And go outside. Quick run around the block. Do you think I don't want it to sound like I'm joking about asking you about buying more clubs, but you were saying like you have more players and every single season ends with you having the ability to add dozens of more players. Is what at some point you probably stop buying clubs? You're not there yet. And who knows what it ends up being, but like once you get to a club, like a maximum number of clubs that you think you can handle, like that you can manage, what do you do with your MFL after the end of each season?
It's one of those things where I'm both dreading retirement, but I'm also looking forward to it. So I can actually rotate players in and out at that point in time. Okay. But it was like highs and lows of hearing Matt talk about club delegation and how it's been prioritized and deprioritized, and really it's only a niche issue. And I was like, I mean, I really should be prioritized again, because I do think that there'd be a lot of opportunities there for. I would designate several, maybe dozens of Spark clubs to people that wanted just an opportunity to manage another club. They wouldn't be great, but I would still incentivize by being like, yeah, you get to keep 20% of the MFL. Because I do believe an active manager is worth 20% of the MFL for the season, because they're probably going to increase the ranking spot by a few spots. And so to answer your question, like I could see an unlimited number of club packs whenever designations come in. I just don't know when that would be. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely pressed for time for a bit in some senses as far as what I currently have.
Sure.
But it is so easy just to do like, just one more pack. Like that, like one more club. It's not going to be that much of a difference. But that one more club adds up pretty quickly.
I was going to say, like, do you, off the top of your head, like, does it feel like there's a certain amount of time? Obviously, once you have a new club, getting it set up takes the time. But like once it's set up, I assume it's only a couple minutes a day. They add up, as you mentioned.
Yeah. So I would say to do my rotations, whenever red cards start piling up, it gets a little bit more time. But I would say between a half hour to 40 minutes to do my rotations a day. But that's if I do them every day. Sometimes I'll do it every other day. But when you get red cards, you got to address that in the moment.
Yeah.
And so typically, it takes about 30 to 40 minutes. But usually that's at 10 o'clock at night when my wife and kid go to bed. And I'm just sitting on my couch watching some sort of MFL stream of some sort. And so it's already like I'm already doing it.
Sure.
And you got to get joy out of it too. Like I enjoy the process. And so that's why it's worthwhile.
Ron John said, it also feels like we have a lot of the high MFL earners buying smaller packs. Once retirement is more of a concern, lots of the MFL will be soaked up by those players needing to buy the expensive packs, which is a great point.
Yeah, they mentioned that yesterday in the Wender. I think it was Taggart mentioned how like there's a chance that those high level legendary packs may actually start to go whenever there's a need to fill those positions. Which I don't know if I fully agree with, but I could see where he's coming from. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we're going to also just see an increase in value for limited and uncommon player packs as people get tired of trying to compete at the bottom and want to see their team grow. That we start to see those limited and uncommon packs really start to increase in value, where people are trying to buy those packs instead at the end of season, which will also result in less players in the space because of how much more expensive those players are.
Yeah. I want to keep going, but I'm going to stop because there's just so much more MFL content coming today.
Some people have larger blocks than others to walk around in between streams.
That's also a good point. So yeah, is next week when we should start expecting the unnamed Trust the Process videos to start?
It is my goal. I have it in my calendar. as stream question mark, because I was confirming with people, that making sure I wasn't stepping on toes for Tuesday at that time. The only exception being is work does have to come first in some respects, and so if I ever get a meeting, I may have to push it earlier or push it later in the day. I'm in the U.S., and so there's chances where if something happens during the day, I'd stream at 10 o'clock at night, which people can just there's Americans that can watch that live,
Sure.
but Euros will have to catch that on watchback or something. But yeah, should be starting next week at 3:30 local time. To me, local time.
Don't worry. Barky in New Zealand is always one who I thought Barky was in New Zealand. Now that I've said that, I'm like, oh man.
I think so too. Barky, I'm waiting for some more videos from you. You're on my subscribe list. I'm calling you out right now to watch some more of your videos.
There we go. See, it's going to be a renaissance of MFL content coming thanks to you joining. So Trust, thank you very much. It was great to talk to you. I'm excited for this time next week. We'll be watching. We'll be 7 minutes in.
We'll be.
That's
as long as I can figure it out.
There we go.
Hopefully I start on time.
I mean, who knows? Doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you very much to everyone who joined live. I'll probably see you over in the Wendercast chat momentarily. And for those watching back, you probably missed the Wenderk stream. But anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Trust, good to see you. And everyone, quick run around the block. And for those watching back, get outside.